It is no secret that the relationship between China and America has had its share of ups and downs over the years, and we all know what's going on with the recent spy balloon fiasco. But what many people don't know is the number of times China has actually attacked the United States. From military incursions to cyber attacks, China has left an indelible mark on America's history. This video will explore the top 7 times China has attacked America. Number 7. The 2012 Scarborough Shoal Standoff. In 2012, the United States and China faced off in a territorial dispute over the Scarborough Shoal in the South China Sea. The shoal is a triangular patch of coral reefs, rocks, and small islands located between the Philippines and Taiwan. China claimed it as their own, while America argued that it was in international waters. In the end, no shots were fired and no one died, but it was a major conflict for both countries as tensions mounted and both sides sent naval vessels to the region. America had 2 aircraft carriers nearby, while China had 3 ships, including 2 missile frigates. This showed how serious they were taking the conflict, and that they were willing to put their money, or in this case ships, where their mouths were. Number 6. The 2009 USNS Impeccable Incident. The USNS Impeccable Incident of 2009 involved the Chinese Navy confronting a US Navy surveillance ship, the USNS Impeccable. The incident occurred in international waters some 75 miles south of China's Hainan Island. China had recently created a new maritime law, allowing their navy to board ships operating in waters off its coast, including those that were in international waters, and the Chinese naval forces were prepared to enforce it. The Chinese vessels confronted the USNS Impeccable in an aggressive manner, with Chinese sailors yelling orders at the ship and even physically blocking the vessel from maneuvering. The Impeccable had to use its fire hoses to keep the Chinese away, but the Chinese vessels eventually left after 8 hours. Fortunately, no deaths or injuries were reported during the incident. The Impeccable Incident was one of the most serious confrontations between the two nations since the 1996 Taiwan Strait crisis, but it fortunately did not escalate further. The incident did, however, bring attention to the increasing tensions between China and the United States over disputed territorial claims in the South China Sea. Number 5. The 2001 EIP3 Incident. In April of 2001, a US surveillance plane, the EIP3, collided with a Chinese fighter jet in international airspace over the South China Sea. The Chinese jet crashed and its pilot was killed, while the American plane made an emergency landing on Hainan Island in China. The 24-member American crew were detained for 11 days before being released, but the aircraft was impounded by Chinese authorities and parts of it were later returned. The incident, which occurred during a period of heightened tensions between the two countries, prompted widespread condemnation from the US, which accused China of violating international law. Although both countries initially denied any responsibility, an official investigation found that the Chinese pilot had been flying recklessly and was to blame for the collision. The incident caused a strain on relations between the two countries, with the US demanding an apology from China and compensation for the crew members' detention. The episode was eventually resolved after US President George W. Bush and Chinese President Jiang Zemin issued a joint statement expressing regret for the loss of life and stating that both countries were committed to working together to ensure the safe operation of military aircraft. The 2001 EIP3 incident resulted in the death of one Chinese pilot and marked a major point of tension between China and the United States. Number 4. The 1996 Taiwan Strait Crisis. The Taiwan Strait Crisis of 1996 was a major confrontation between the People's Republic of China and the Republic of China, Taiwan, in which the People's Republic of China issued threats of a missile attack against Taiwan. The crisis began after the Taiwanese government decided to hold a referendum on whether to declare independence from the mainland. The Chinese government viewed this referendum as a direct challenge to their claim of sovereignty over Taiwan, which is viewed as a renegade province by Beijing. As a response, China conducted several military exercises in the Taiwan Strait, including missile tests and live-fire exercises, in an attempt to intimidate the Taiwanese government. In response to the crisis, the United States deployed 2 aircraft carrier battle groups to the region and made public statements that it would defend Taiwan in the event of an attack. This resulted in a de-escalation of tensions and an end to the crisis without any shots being fired or any lives being lost. However, the incident highlighted the dangerous and fragile relationship between Taiwan and mainland China, and it served as a reminder of China's growing power in the region. Number 3. The IranContra Affair. The IranContra Affair was a foreign policy scandal which occurred during the Reagan administration in the late 1980s. China played a key role in this scandal as they sold weapons to Iran, despite the arms embargo placed on them by the United States. This incident involved the secret sale of American arms to Iran in exchange for hostages held by radical Iranian militants, with the money from the arms sale going to fund Nicaraguan rebels known as Contras. The Chinese weapons sales to Iran were a critical factor in the scandal. The US provided military assistance and advice to the Chinese government in the defense of the country. In addition, the US facilitated the sale of Chinese weapons to Iran. This enabled Iran to increase its military strength, which it used to launch attacks on its enemies in the region. At least 16,000 people lost their lives as a result of the Iranian Contra scandal. The casualties included both combatants and civilians. The conflict also had a lasting impact on US foreign policy and international relations. It also left a deep impression on the Iranian people who felt betrayed by the US government. Number 2. The Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was a major conflict between North and South Vietnam that lasted from 1954 to 1975. China played an important role in the war, mainly by providing North Vietnam with military and economic assistance. In addition, Chinese forces were actively involved in the fighting at times, often sending troops across the border to support North Vietnamese operations. During the Vietnam War, an estimated 3 million people were killed, with the vast majority of these casualties being Vietnamese civilians. Of course, US and other allied forces also sustained a great number of casualties during the conflict. The Chinese government's defense of North Vietnam was part of their larger strategy of increasing their influence throughout Southeast Asia. It also demonstrated China's commitment to defending against what it perceived as US aggression in the region. Number 1. The Korean War. The Korean War was a conflict that lasted from 1950 to 1953 and saw China take up the North Korean cause against the United States and its allies. The Chinese People's Volunteer Army fought alongside the North Korean forces, with the Chinese Defense Minister Peng Dehuai taking on all command. During the course of the war, Chinese forces pushed back US and UN forces in battles such as the Battle of Chosin Reservoir and the Battle of Bloody Ridge, leading to a stalemate and an armistice being signed in 1953. The exact number of casualties is unknown, but it's estimated that around 3 million people died in the Korean War, including over 33,000 US and UN forces. Chinese forces played an important role in defending North Korea and pushing back US and UN forces, making this one of the most significant times that China has attacked the United States. That's it for today. We hope you found our video interesting. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Also, please consider subscribing to our channel. Remember to turn on the notification bell so you can see all of our new uploads. In the end, thanks for watching and see you next time.